All right, welcome back, grade 9s. Today you've been working on push-pull factors, and you've been looking at the history of immigration in Canada. And now we're going to do the fourth part of today's lesson together. In this fourth part of today's lesson, we're going to be looking at some of those success stories in Canada's immigration history. So immigration remains controversial, or some Canadians feel that it doesn't benefit those existing Canadians enough, that they want to see what does it do for us. So I hope that after this fairly quick presentation, you'll have a greater understanding as to how Canada benefits from immigration, and then we'll be able to finish up this chapter, finish up this unit, and be ready to move on to the term project tomorrow and the midterm Thursday. So one way to look at the benefit of immigration is to quickly take a look at Canada's wealthiest citizens. And when we look at Canada's wealthiest citizens, many of them are either born or they don't currently reside within Canada. So much wealth that has been created within Canada for Canadians to enjoy has been created by new Canadians. So that's an impressive list. Pretty big gap between number 1 and 2. David Thompson being worth 41 million and the next best being worth 14 million, or billion, sorry. That's a pretty significant gap. But we do have individuals who are born outside of Canada that become nationalized within Canada and now help contribute to Canada's economy. So for example, we have this individual here who owns the Brooklyn Nets of the NBA, was born in Taiwan, but is also a Canadian. And as a Canadian, is involved in many different communities within our country, contributing to them as he feels charitable. Another way to look at the impact that immigrants have on Canada is to not just look at them from an economic numbers standpoint, but look at 7 Canadian immigrants who changed the face of businesses here in Canada. So this document looks at immigrants that may not be the wealthiest Canadians, but they have helped shape or reshape some industries within Canada. So we have one individual here, Ed Mervish, was born in the United States of America, comes to Canada at age 9, and once in Canada, helps transform an industry. If you spent any time in Toronto's theatre district, you'd probably come across the name Mervish. The son of Jewish immigrants from Lithuania and Austria, Mervish was known for the discount store and soon-to-be demolished Toronto landmark Honest Ed's, as well as being a patron of the arts through his many theaters and company Mervish Productions. So we have a 9-year-old child comes to Canada and decides to invest in Canada, invest in the arts within Toronto. Here's another example, and the nice thing about this link that's in our Google Classroom and our Google textbook is there's short videos about each one of them. We have another American that decides to come to Canada, this one a little later in life at age 28. The school's named after her and busts created in her image. Her legacy is marked across Canada. She was the first black female publisher in North America and the first woman publisher in Canada. Starting in 1853, the provincial Freeman newspaper published until 1860, right before the U.S. Civil War broke out. We have others from the 20th century here. So maybe you watch popular cooking shows like Chopped Canada or Iron Chef America. You probably recognize this individual from shows like that. The talented celebrity chef is also a successful restaurateur, both here in Canada and abroad, known for his fusion cuisine. Lee owns 5 successful restaurants in Toronto, and even partnered up with Drake, whoever that is, for his latest venture. I don't know. Anybody know who Drake is? I've never heard of this person. Drake. We also have some Canadians that have been here for quite some time, emigrated at the age of 3. Most Canadians may recognize this as one of the venture capitalists on the hit CBC series Dragon's Den. We've had some Canadians come to Canada as entrepreneurs and help empower existing Canadians. So one of the issues we saw in Chapter 5 is that Aboriginal Canadians feel that money directed or funneled towards new Canadians is money not funneled towards them, and therefore they're not necessarily in favor of adding new Canadians to the family of nations that we've assembled. But as we can see here, we have a lady born in India, a man born in India, and he comes to Canada and works to empower Aboriginal youth by creating university and college endowments, as well as providing seed money to inspiring entrepreneurs. So, we definitely have a lot of individual case studies here that show that some new Canadians come here and they help grow Canada economically, help grow Canada socially, and contribute to us politically as well. Continuing on this idea that immigrants that help, we have an easier way to look at this. More than 1.6 million people work in Canada's healthcare sector, and many more will be needed in the coming years to ensure continued access to high-quality healthcare. Almost 500,000 workers in the healthcare sector are over the age of 55. Most of these will be retiring in the next decade or so. In addition, there are existing recruitment challenges from everywhere in Canada, from nurses, residential care staff, and home health care staff. So this is an opportunity where we need immigration to come and fill a labor void. Immigrants already account for 1 out of every 4 healthcare sector workers. Immigrants make up 36% of all pharmacists and family doctors across Canada, as well as 39% of all dentists, 27% of all licensed practice nurses, and 35% of nurse aides and related occupations. More than 40% of all newcomers to Canada between 2011 and 2016 were working in the healthcare sector. So this graphic right here is evidence of how new immigrants help Canada. So the first part of this chapter, we looked at, what's the pull for new immigrants to come to Canada? How are we helping them? This is the second half of that conversation. What are they doing for us? So 54% of dental technologists and related field were born outside of Canada. So some famous Canadian immigrants, we've got lots. We've got some doctors. This is a doctor who, with a team of scientists from the Hospital of Sick Children in Toronto, discovered a gene responsible for cystic fibrosis. He's an officer of the Order of Canada and a member of the Canadian Medical Hall of Fame. So it's not just Alfonso Davies from yesterday. It's not just athletes like Steve Nash that have helped change this nation. There are immigrants in all fields helping to change this nation. We have a professor here who immigrated to Canada from India, and we can see that he now leads an international association with India for the development of drugs targeting malaria. So this is just a start of some new Canadians who have helped Canada. That's just in healthcare. You can go into business, you can go into sports, you can go into science, technology, arts, and culture. And philanthropy is when you look at how charitable people are. The newcomers are also giving back. On average, immigrants donate more to charity than Canadian-born citizens. So the last thing I'd like you to do before you finish up here today, with about a half an hour left, is section 4. There's some links to look at, and this last one that I'm looking at has lots of little rabbit holes to go down. I want you to look at it. I'll make it different color. Oh, I can't do that on Google Classroom. I can't make it a different color. But I want you to take a look at it, and I want you to record, how do immigrants, give back to Canada? How do immigrants give back to Canada?